Hey, Gator Nation. Welcome back to Respect Our Decision, Pod of the People, our show, what we do every week for YouTube, where we get your questions and try to provide some answers to them, as well as our weekly community question. As always, I'm your boy Hirsch, and with me is the hype man Wes.
What's good?
And CJ, the man McCann.
What's going on, guys?
Guys, as we said, Pod of the People is a YouTube exclusive show. So if you're here and you're watching and you haven't subscribed, what's wrong, man? Why not? I mean, it just go ahead, show a little class, hit the button, smash it, drop a like, leave us a comment, maybe a question for next week's show. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, guys, and this is the last week that you can be eligible to win the hat that we're giving away at the end of the month for everyone who has subscribed, liked, and commented on a video in the month of April. So this is your last chance, guys, to get in for that hat. And no, repeat comments are not like, it's not like a raffle where you put in more tickets.
Right.
It's just don't
Not
work
selling
anymore.
tickets.
Yeah, man. One subscribe, one entry. That's it. Don't try to get over on us. No, we're just kidding, guys. We appreciate all your support, guys. We're very close to hitting 1,000 subscribers. Hey, man, you might be the guy. So we'd love to have you, brother. Jump on. All right, Wes, what's our questions looking like this week, man?
Yeah, Hirsch, appreciate it.
Uh-oh, Wes fell.
Dropped the iPad with all the questions on it. Apologize for that.
No. Oh, no.
All right. Our first question to you, CJ, is from my boy, Justin Wood. Shout out Justin. Justin, my apologies. I'm going to apologize on air. By the time we recorded, I think I submitted the question late last week. So by the time your question,
he got it to us late last week. We apologize for that, Justin. I saw your questions.
He says, CJ, do you think Florida will add a transfer at wide receiver after the loss of CJ? I want to call him CJ. Xavier Henderson.
There's been some talk that maybe there's a few guys. I think the gentleman, Mr. Montana from the Colorado Buffaloes, is an intriguing prospect. I don't know. I think that there's been said that yes, the Gators are looking. And it's one of those things where like the transfer portal is so unpredictable of who's going to get in. You still got teams that are doing exit interviews. You've got teams that did later spring games. So you've got teams that are kind of trying to figure that out where somebody fits. You got guys bouncing things around, throwing feelers out there that we don't know about, that aren't even officially in the portal. So I'm sure there's an opportunity out there. But maybe the young man or there's two wide receivers from Colorado. Maybe one of those guys would be an option for us. I think that it would be optimal to add another wide receiver just with all the youth that's in the room, because of they're freshmen, so you kind of don't want to put everything on them. I think it would be nice to, but I don't know as it stands right now. But it wouldn't shock me.
Justin, to tag on what CJ just said, especially at the end, I don't really want another receiver added. And the reason why is because I feel okay with the room. And I want the young guys to play. With the way the transfer portal is nowadays, you have guys transfer out after a year or so. So with Henderson leaving, that gives those young guys more opportunities to play and see what they can do and find their way. So I kind of like this Henderson leaving and these young guys. We all are very high on Mizell and Wilson and Gene. So I want to see those guys on the field because we're not going to win anything this year. So the projection is to get those guys' feet wet and let them play so that either Simmons or Lagway can come in and hopefully have some receivers that are already set and ready to go when they get here. So that's just me personally. All right, Hirsch, next question from Justin Wood again. He says, who do you guys think is the more realistic option Florida lands in the transfer portal?
Right now, Josh Simmons. It's the only guy we know for official is visiting.
Say that name again, because I think I might have cut you off.
Josh Simmons, the tackle from San Diego State that's visiting. Right now, that's the only guy we know that's taking a visit to Florida. So right now, technically, he can only be he can be the only option that I can really give you. Now, we've heard a couple of other names, but we're not really allowed to kind of throw those out there right now because it's not out in the open. The staff is kind of working on some guys that maybe have recently entered their name into the portal. Obviously, there's a few days left for guys to enter their name in the portal, and I believe you'll see a barrage of guys make that decision here in the next few days. And I don't think we're done losing guys either. So, I mean, you know, we might have to shift our focus on what we're going after. But to further that, I think you'll see at least one offensive lineman, probably two. I think you'll see at least one safety. I know they want an edge, and a tight end. I think they're looking for one more tight end in the portal as well right now, since they lost Zipper. Yes.
All right, CJ. Next question from Gary Taff, our boy Gary Taff, who asked good questions every week as well. He says, "Do you think the fan base will give Napier the time he needs to go? The time he needs, basically." And he says, "Go Gators, chomp chomp."
Here's what I think. I don't think they got a choice.
I was going to say the same thing.
I don't think they got a choice.
I don't think it matters what the fan base wants in this instance.
No, I think like I said a few weeks ago, it's time to take your medicine. We're not going to get rid of him. The administration has bought into him. The top brass at the university has bought into what he's doing. I don't care if the fan base doesn't like him after this year or whatever. It doesn't really matter to me, because you need to kind of start to temper expectations of where we are as a program and understand that this really is the year where you're really going to start to feel those real growing pains, because last year was kind of a year where you try a few guys out. We didn't do what Deion Sanders is doing and kicking 50 dudes out last year. So, you know, I think that's the main thing is you're really going to see the rebuild this year. We want to be competitive in year 3. If we're not competitive in year 3, then we can start to really raise the red flags. But right now, I mean, like I said, I'll be completely honest. I don't give a damn what the fans want. At this point, this is what we need, and we're just going to have to hang out. You know, you can either get with it or get lost.
Agreed. I'm with you there.
And just to piggyback off of that, all the important people that matter have told Billy, "You've got our support and you've got time." And that's all that matters at the end of the day.
All right, this is from Chris Hirsch. He says, if Billy and company, this kind of piggybacking off what Gary's question was. He said, if Billy goes 500 or less this upcoming season, what happens? Do you guys think the 2024 recruiting class well, let's answer that first part first. He says, if Billy goes 500 or less this upcoming season, what happens?
Nothing.
Okay.
Time moves on. Life moves on. We keep recruiting the guys that we're recruiting. Make no mistake about it. Napier is telling these guys that this could be a rough season. He's not going to lie to these kids, but he's going to say, watch us play these young guys and watch these young guys do good things. And you can have that same exact opportunity next year, because this is going to be a very young football team. And it's going to get younger is the thing. Like after this season, I think we're going to get even younger if that's possible. So
that's what I was saying with receivers. I just want to see those guys get experience, because that's going to matter later on.
Absolutely.
First, just to CJ, I'll give you this one. To follow, he asked 3 questions. So I'm asking his third question because it ties into the first one. He says, why didn't Napier drain the swamp last season like Brian Kelly did at LSU?
I think that Billy Napier came in at a point where he wanted to give as many players as he could the benefit of the doubt, because we had a lot of guys that were super talented. They were super talented coming out of high school. That they had on paper, they were great athletes, and maybe they had just been given a raw shake by the last staff. Maybe the staff was to blame why these guys couldn't get through. And you could see that with some of them. Some of them were totally that reason. And we saw guys shine this year that that weren't doing it under the last staff. But Billy comes in, and these guys are actually playing pretty well. And then you saw the same old with guys that we kind of knew where they were going to be at. And I think a lot of that too is depth issues. You wanted to keep as many players as you possibly could to be competitive this last season, because there was a chance that you could be competitive with a guy like Anthony Richardson. And I think that's all it was. I think Billy just gave these guys the benefit of the doubt. He wanted to keep some talent on the team because, again, you weren't really seeing what was going on with the transfer portal yet. The transfer portal wasn't as fleshed out that it is now. I think LSU with Brian Kelly could afford to kick more guys to the curb because LSU has more talent than we did. I think LSU is always going to recruit well. I think I could go be the head coach at LSU and recruit well. I think it's kind of like a machine that's just going to keep going. Kids in Louisiana don't want to go anywhere else. They just don't. It's very rare that you get those guys. It's kind of impressive that Florida's been able to get a few of them. So I think that LSU is in a totally different situation than we are. I don't think that it's a coaching issue so much. I think if Brian Kelly was here, he probably would have had the same season that Billy had last year. I think he was 6-7. I just think that our ball team wasn't that great. I think LSU is just a better team, top to bottom. They got more to work with. I think you could tell more kids to hit the road. I think they brought in a better class than we did off the heels of where we were last year. I just think that you really can't compare the situations.
I agree with you, CJ.
I think that's the main thing. I think LSU is only 3 years removed from a national championship.
And that's what I was going to break up. It kind of alludes to your point as last week when you were talking about how broken our program is, and people don't realize that. Like you just said, they're coming off a national championship, and LSU is recruiting against LSU. Mm-hmm. There's nobody in the state. We have Miami, we have Florida State, and then we have Ohio State coming in to take our receivers. We have Bama coming in to take whoever they want to take. We have Georgia coming in to take whoever they want to take. So to recruit in the state of Florida and recruit in the state of Louisiana is two totally different animals, and it's not the same. So that's how I feel about that. Hirsch, next question of Chris to you. He says, do you think the 2024 recruiting class stays together even if Florida looks to perform poorly on the field? All the other guys are out, so this year is technically a rebuild, right?
Yes, and absolutely the class stays together. I'm not going to say you won't lose a kid or two, because you're going to lose a kid or two every single cycle. It's part of it, whether it be, but then you have to look at the context of it. It could be a grades issue like we had last year with one of the kids. One kid might get pushed out. We say great things about Josiah Davis, but what if the class you get longer in the year and you've got better options than Josiah Davis and he's not showing any improvement in his senior year? And, you hate to hear it, but staffs go to these kids and say, look, it might be in your best interest to go look for somewhere else. And it happens. And it sucks sometimes, but that's just the way college football is.
All right, CJ, this is from Justice. I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give Hirsch Ryan's question. He says, what do you guys think about CJ, you get Ryan's question. He says, do you think the news today as far as Simmons transferring affects him possibly reclassifying? I'll touch on this. I saw the news that he was going to the name of the high school escapes me. But he's going there. I think his dad is going to be the offensive coordinator at this high school. And maybe, I don't know. I mean, my thing is he's still ahead.
He's already taken college classes.
I mean, the guy is still, I don't know. He
doesn't go to the school anyway. Let's put that out there.
That's the thing. Even if he transfers there, maybe that's to get a cap and gown and walk across the stage. I mean, maybe that's what the idea of it is.
No, he's graduated.
Well, I'm talking about if he's homeschooled, he never actually got the cap and the gown and walked across the stage. That's what I mean. That's my thing. Maybe that's
I'm with you. I understand, CJ.
I mean, I don't know. because, like, as far as I know, everything I've been told, there's no reason for him to go to high school. There's nothing. What's he going to do? Take wood shop for 3 classes a day, or
home economics?
I think
home ec, play basketball.
I want to piggyback a point I heard on this, and just for even more clarity to it, I think this is just a fallback in case things, for whatever reason, U.S. transcripts and all that comes with that, there could be a hang up. And if at the last minute, for whatever reason, it doesn't go through for him to reclassify, that he's got to fall back to play with the team that his dad is coaching at next season.
Right. I could see that. And like I said, my thing is, as far as I know, he's done with school. So, like, this to me doesn't really affect anything. I mean, if he's able to reclassify now, he's able to reclassify if he's going to whatever school. I don't think it really matters.
Maybe he's just trying to draw in some talent to come play at his dad's school.
Maybe so. Or maybe he wants to play another year of high school football. I don't know. But my thing is, if he's dead set on reclassifying, I don't see this affecting that, if that's what he wants to do.
All right, Hirsch, last question to you. This is from Justin Wood. He threw in a curveball. That's why I wanted to say this one for you. And
curve.
He says, what do you guys think about the Twitter battle when he threw a medal up there by Hirsch with Jason Brown?
Oh, golly. We're going to go on to that? Man, you talk about a curveball.
That's why
Look here, man.
That's why I had to switch it up at the
Look,
end.
man. There's a reason Jason Brown ain't been employed by any football team since Last Chance U, and he's still living off of that. Look, the man obviously doesn't have ears or something. He looked at a breakdown of AR done by Dan Orlovsky and said that AR at the beginning of the third quarter was playing against UGA's backups, and UGA had already taken their foot off the gas. First and foremost, wrong. Anybody that watched that game knew, Kirby Smart, as Wes is having all kinds of issues.
My bad. I'm back.
Kirby Smart ain't taking his foot off the gas
against
at the
Florida.
start of the third quarter against the University of Florida. That tells me you don't know the rivalry at all. Are the coaches coaching it?
Kirby Smart to hang 100 on us if he can.
Now, UGA does, and is probably the best team in the country because they have the talent to do it, of subbing guys in and out. But don't tell me that Ringo wasn't out there getting passed on in the third quarter and some of the other guys at UGA. UGA had 2 very young safeties last year, and that sometimes they look suspect. But then he said that Henderson's 75-yard pass wasn't in the breakdown when clearly it was in the breakdown at the 52-second mark, which I pointed out to him, and then he told me it wasn't in there. So maybe Jason Brown's damn cigars are laced with LSD or some shit. I don't know, but he can argue himself because he don't watch the games.
Nah.
Listen, I saw that. I cracked.
I saw when he said that, and that was just ludicrous. But that's all the questions we have.
And the funny thing was, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to go back to it, but I kind of got passionate about it. I even said in my response, I'm not saying AR is going to be successful as a pro, because that's subjective at this point. We don't know that. Nobody knows that. You can go back to Ryan Leaf and Peyton Manning as far as that goes about who's going to be successful. But the man said he bet AR wouldn't be in the league in 3 years. And that alone is just asinine, because he's still going to be under a rookie contract.
He's not even going to play next. He's not going to play next year.
He's going to be under a rookie contract for the next 4 to 5.
So his first 2 years are going to be really second and third. His second and third year. So
I'll be completely honest. I like Coach JB. I like his stuff. He makes me laugh. He's funny. I love Last Chance U. I love some of the stuff he says. Some of it's funny as hell. But, man, that's just wrong. Like, that was just all. It's like, man, come on. I think a lot of what Coach JB is doing, I think a lot of it is a shtick.
It's interaction based.
He's got an audience. He knows what they like to see.
Zach Smith. He's
right.
Big Game Boomer.
Right.
All these guys that rile up other fan bases.
Right.
For attention, and I just was simply calling out an inaccuracy in what he said about the backups being in for the University
Right.
of
Yeah,
Georgia.
I think it's just, again, I think a lot of it's his shtick. It's what he does. You know, and is it good shtick or not? That's up to whoever. But I just thought that was kind of funny watching that.
It's funny as hell because at one point in time, Jason Brown followed me on Twitter. So whatever, Coach JB, Hurst don't care.
We get Coach JB on the show. Let him talk to Hurst here.
No. I don't let Wes smoke on the show. I couldn't let Jason Brown on the show. He smoked all the time.
Next question.
Guys.
I'm done.
Oh, you got another one?
No, I'm done. I'm done.
He's done. We got one question on our YouTube page from last week's show. Lucas the Gator Man always asks his questions in the comments. Some of y'all need to follow in the footsteps of Lucas the Gator Man, man. It's a great place to ask next week's question. He said, how did we see the wide receiver room shaking out? Lucas, I'm going to hit you right now with what I think. I think TJ Moore is the alpha. Well, let me back that up. Jeremiah Smith is the alpha dog of that we're recruiting. Do I think he's in the class? Most likely not. Unless Brian Hartline rides off into the sun somewhere or flips another side-by-side drunk on the side of the road, I think Jeremiah Smith's going to Ohio State. I think the most likely number one dog in the class is TJ Moore. I think Mario Craver is probably number 2. Then after that, you're going to get a rush to see who else fills in that class. Is it Jeree Hawkins from IMG? Maybe. A guy that Connor talked about last week that I know the staff is tremendously high on, Isaiah Williams out of Tampa. I think there's a tremendous chance that he finds his way into this class. And we already lost Nitro Tuggle to Georgia. That doesn't mean we're going to stop recruiting him, as you've seen with the staff. And I'm sure some more names will pop up. And, of course, we're after JoJo Trader as well.
Yeah, and then there's a couple guys in Texas like Terry Bussey.
Bussey, I know Drayon Miller has kind of slipped down the list. I don't even think we're going to get a visit from Drayon Miller at this point.
I think that those are a couple of names that I talked about because the DJ is in Texas and he's got communication out there.
I'm saying that's the only way. If he comes to Friday Night Lights, I'll be happy.
Yeah,
but DJ is talking with a lot of these guys. He's really hit up JoJo Trader a lot and tried to get work there. And Trader said this week that it looks like we might get one of his official visits. Hey, you've got a puncher's chance, man. That's all I can say. I mean, that's a guy that has been picked to Miami for a long time now, that Trader was going to Miami. And slowly but surely, that smoke has started to kind of die off a little bit. I think it's pretty much an open ball game. I've had a lot of people tell me now they think it's Florida State. But, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, it might be, hey, who's giving me the best NIL deal?
True.
The broke boys or the broker boys? We'll see. Thank you as always, Lucas, for your question, man. Hope that gives you some answers. I know you follow recruiting really closely and you know all these guys we're talking about anyway. So we'll see how it shakes out, man. All right, guys, time for the community question of the week. As usual, Gator Nation showed no bias in this community question whatsoever. Community question of the week. Who is the greatest college football player that didn't win the Heisman? Well, I'm going to start off. Lucas answered this in multiple places. He said the GOAT, Emmitt Smith. I mean, I don't have any argument with that. Emmitt was a great college running back. I don't know if he was the greatest player that didn't win the Heisman, but he was pretty dang good. Jeremy Thorson said Jim Brown. Jeremy, not only do you have an awesome name, but I can't disagree at all. Jim Brown, arguably the best running back that's ever played the sport of football.
Yes.
Absolutely. Jed Kill, Vince Young. Something to be said for that, man. Vince was an incredible college football player. He just happened to go up against the USC machine at the time. Maybe they could take Reggie Bush's Heisman and give it to Vince Young.
Give it to Vince Young. Pass it on.
And then, I mean, it's just a slew of people. Lake City Gator, Rex Grossman. Gator Quez, Rex Grossman. 601 Gator, Rex Grossman. Y'all think Rex Grossman should have won the Heisman? Rex Grossman? Tyrone Shields said Vince Young. Another Vince Shields. John says Christian McCaffrey was robbed 2 years in a row. That's a pretty solid one, too. Proud Gator, Percy Harvin. Percy had the luck of playing with Tebow. That didn't help him at all. Bill Hoffmeyer said Kenneth Walker III. There was actually a couple people that said Kenneth Walker III got robbed of a Heisman, and he was pretty damn good, man. Your Gator Bait 88, Trevor Lawrence. Gatorade 75, Rex Grossman and Kyle Trask. I love Kyle Trask, but I don't know if he got robbed playing against Burrow that year. Dab of Gator, Percy Harvin. Once again, Percy just had the unlucky, of playing with maybe the greatest Gator football player of all time, and Tim Tebow. And Matt Tenney said, "Sexy Rexy." Yeah, like I said, man, no Gator bias at all in these questions.
None. Zero. None.
Wes, did you have any on the Facebook side?
Yeah, I did. I had a couple guys. Let me pull that back up. I don't know why I closed it out. The guys that they said were Lucas said Emmitt Smith. We already had him. Trey Day James said Emmitt Smith. Emmett Wright says that's tough. I could say Emmett, Rex, or Percy. He also said the Rocket, Ishmael. I don't know if people remember him.
Oh, man.
I remember the Rocket. 89, 88, 89, Notre Dame, baby.
Said Marshall Falk, Vince Sung, and Sapp. I don't know what Sapp he's talking about, but he said Sapp. He just gave our last name Sapp. And he says a long list.
I don't know any other Warren.
Yeah,
I don't know any other Sapps that did it.
Yeah, but he says hard to pick anyone. Alan Hazel said Rex Grossman and Emmitt Smith. Ryan Parker said Adrian Peterson. That's the first I heard Adrian Peterson was snubbed. Bo Dahl said Emmett. Tim Fonville said Emmett as well. Ricky Richardson said Rex. And David Friend, he had a new one that year. And I didn't think about this, but he did have an awesome year at Nebraska, was Dominican Sue.
Dominican Sue was a great player. He was actually a finalist, which is
just so
nuts.
tough, man, for those defensive guys to win it. If Charles Woodson hadn't played both ways, I'm not sure he would have won it.
Yeah.
All right, Wes, who's your biggest snub of all time?
The biggest snub.
Our greatest player not to win.
I was going to say snub and greatest. As far as high school, as far as college, I'm going to go with, and it's because of where he left off his last game of his sophomore year, and then when he took into his junior year, Vince Young. To see what he did and the way that game played out. And people say Vince didn't have help. Vince wasn't like Cam Newton. Cam didn't have help. Vince had NFL players.
You're good. My bad.
Okay. Vince had NFL players on his roster, especially on defense. But with what he did in both of those bowl games, back-to-back years, was unprecedented. He kind of took on the mantle of one-man band, but that was really Cam, in my opinion. But what he did against the slew of NFL talent that USC had was amazing. So I'm gonna go with Vince just because, and I don't think he deserved it because Reggie Bush was just different.
A different world.
So, but he just played in the role. He just played the same year as Reggie Bush. So I'm not saying that Reggie Bush didn't deserve it, but I think Vince deserved one, but he just played with Reggie Bush.
Yeah.
All right, CJ, who's your man?
Man, I bounced back and forth with this one between two names. I gotta go with Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck was by far and away the number one quarterback prospect. The guy just was a winner. He was a hell of a player. You could not find a hole in his game. He was the most complete, ready-to-go quarterback out of college. I don't think we've ever seen anybody else like it. He was better, to me, coming out of college than where Peyton Manning was. I think he was ready to go. And you saw that when he got in the league. Andrew Luck, unfortunately, had RG3 have a great season in front of him and Cam Newton have a great season. But Andrew Luck was considered the absolute dog favorite both of those years. And I think this could be said, too, about Christian McCaffrey. Playing on the West Coast hurt them with a lot of the voters because the games were just not on TV, or they didn't come on till 10 o'clock. So you didn't get to see him play as much. And I think that hurt his campaign. But I think Andrew Luck is probably the greatest college football player that didn't win the Heisman. There was one more, and I'm not going to say him because Hirsch might say him, but I think that Andrew Luck, to me, is the guy on that list.
Yeah, you actually did mention my guy off cuff right there, and my guy and Gator fans, you may not like this, but I'm gonna throw a little shade at the same time. Mine is Peyton Manning. I watched Peyton Manning put on a show for 4 years in college. I mean, just absolute ridiculous numbers. But why didn't Peyton Manning ever win a Heisman?
Because of us.
Because he couldn't beat Steve Spurrier and the Florida Gators. 0 for 4, Peyton Manning. So no Heisman for you. Sorry. Still, I'll give Peyton the credit. Peyton is one of the best
awesome
NFL quarterbacks I've ever seen. I've said it over and over again. The Sheriff was an amazing player. He's even funnier dude. Love his, I find it real hard sometimes to hate Peyton like, a Gator would hate a Tennessee football player. Peyton's just, you don't ever hear about Peyton doing this, that, or the other bad. I mean, he's a good guy, but hey, if you can't beat the Gators, you don't get no damn Heisman. Sorry for your damn luck, Peyton. But
yeah, and since you didn't say it, I'll throw his name out there. The other guy I bounded back and forth was Michael Vick.
Michael Vick just had that one great year, though, really.
But Michael Vick was just something.
He was, but I don't know.
He willed a Virginia Tech team to a
I'll say this. Since you brought up Michael Vick, the player he played in his national championship that should have won the Heisman was Peter Warrick.
And that was another guy, and he was on one of our comments, and I skated over it. Peter Warrick absolutely might
was a hell of a player.
Behind Peyton might be my number 2 because
I mean, I don't care if they play for Florida State. Him and Warwick Dunn are 2 guys that I just give a lot of credit to.
I skipped over players. 2 different guys, and now I remember that, and I apologize if this was your answer and I skipped over you. Somebody had also put Dion in there. Once again, another incredible Seminole. I hate to say it, but we all know Dion, arguably one of the best, if not the best cornerback of all time. Him, Rod Woodson, kind of right there in that,
Mm-hmm.
And somebody else said Randy Moss, but Randy Moss being at Marshall, if Randy Moss had stayed straight and gone to Florida State, and God thank you that he didn't, Randy Moss probably would have won some Heisman trophies.
Went to Notre Dame or,
Yeah. But hey, he liked that green, and I'm glad he did back then when people
he got in trouble.
I'm glad he didn't go to Florida State because he would have been
yeah.
All right, guys.
Winky. Oh my God.
No doubt. Oh my God. Never mind. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this week's Pod of the People. As always, guys, we appreciate you so much for sending in your questions and your answers to the community question, man. We love all the interactions with you guys. Like we say every week, it gives us a chance to jump on here, kind of share some stories, laugh, cut it up, throw a little truth at you, hear everybody else's opinions on who was great in their time. There's a little bit of age difference here. I'm the older spokesman. Wes is a little below me, and then CJ is he's down there. But the man has watched a lot of football. He got a lot of knowledge. So,
the baby.
So as always, guys, Pod of the People is a YouTube exclusive show. This is the last episode of the month. So if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, left a comment, and liked on the video to enter to win the hat. Now is your last chance, man. If you're listening to this point in the show and you're like, man, I ain't done any of that stuff, you better jump on it. If you want a chance, I'll tell you, it's free, man. It's a free. It don't cost nothing to reach up with that mouse or that finger and say, you know what, I'll be a nice guy today. I'm gonna hit that subscribe button, drop that comment, and say, guys, love your show. Guys, I just want this hat. Guys, I got a question I want to ask. Hirsch, I don't like your beard.
Guys, why are you giving so much love to Florida State players?
Wesley, I need you hype more.
Yeah, Wes, why ain't you hyped enough? Wes, you seem a little down.
Wait till June. I'm waiting till June. These visits.
Yeah, man. The hype man gets hyped right around Friday Night Lights. That's his cut. That's his cut on time. All right, guys. So Make sure you're subscribed. This is your last chance. I don't want you to hear, oh, I didn't know. Hirsch, I didn't know. Make sure you check us out on our socials, the Facebook group, Respect Our Decision, Twitter, @RespectOurDCN. You can find out all the details you need there. If you're like, man, I don't remember what they said. What do I got to do? Check it out. And as always, guys, we love you and thank you so much, like we already said. And as always, go Gators.
Go Gators.
Go Gators.